the way that you stepped out and became an activist was vastly different than the way Dr. King did it. And
That's
a lot of your activism was it also inspired through music, through entertainment. The legendary iconic James Brown. I was actually at the funeral. My mom and I stood online at the Apollo for all those hours to come and see him. And one of the things I always tell people about that funeral was Reverend Al Sharpton was there, making me well up. Reverend Al Sharpton was there, and when you got to the casket, Reverend Al Sharpton greeted you. You greeted every single person who came to that funeral,
what
and
you
and that
know.
was so beautiful.
You making me well up. Well, James Brown met me when I was 19, 18 going on 19. His son had joined my youth group, and his son got killed in a car accident. And I, in many ways, over a few years, became like a replacement for his son. He had other kids, but
Yeah.
I had ambition to be something. And my father left when I was 10. He became the father I didn't have.
Mm.
And I stood with him, and he stood with me through all our ups and downs. And when we brought his body to the Apollo, the later state, I had recommended to his daughters that we do that. And they said, absolutely. Uh, I think we opened the doors at 10 in the morning and went all the way till 6 that night.
Yeah.
And I never left but one time to go to the restroom.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't want to leave him
Yes.
because he never left me.
Mm.
And I learned from him what I didn't learn from my civil rights mentors, how to use theatrics, drama, and how to be your own person. He used to always say to me, I remember one night, Bev, that we were riding around in one of his cars down in Augusta, Georgia. And I think one of the reasons he liked me is because I wanted to hear all the war stories and I'd hang with him and everybody else wanted to get away and do what they were doing because he had this all-consuming personality.
Yes.
And I remember one night we were riding around in one of his cars. He had about 32 cars. I think we were in the California. And he looked at me and said, son, let me tell you one thing. I want you to promise me one thing. I said, what's that? He said, don't be one of the boys. Have
Mm.
enough nerve to be different. He said, when I got started, people were on the 240. I cut it to half feet, 1-3. He said, I was short and they wanted tall entertainers. I was dark skinned, they wanted light entertainers. I didn't have the long, good hair. I had a comp. He said, but I decided I was going to outdance him and outsing him until the whole world said I was the king of soul.
That's right.
Don't be afraid to be your own man. And if I had not had James Brown, I might have been a carbon copy of the other ahead of me.
Yeah.
I developed my own style and my own confidence because Godfather soul taught me that firsthand.
Indeed.